Okay, so we're here on the 5 Minute Bark, and we've got a dear friend of mine that I've now known for over 20 or 30 years. I'm not even sure how far it goes back, but it's been an amazing long time since we've connected. And recently, he's reached out on Twitter, and now we have been connecting almost on a regular basis, and found out that we're both inspirational speakers. So we're really excited to share with you guys here today some great news about your life that we're going to help you, because we talk to everybody. We get the chance to talk to so many people in our lives, and we learn so much. And hopefully we're going to share some of that here today. So we've got Tom Beal here today, tuning in from Boca Raton, Florida. And Tom, why don't you tell everybody a little about yourself?
Sure, Dennis. Well, first, it's an honor and pleasure to be here. It's also an honor that our paths recrossed, after 26 years ago, 28, almost 30 years, like you said.
Yeah, yes.
So it's amazing how life unfolds, and it's always great to reconnect with old friends and especially see the impact you're helping others achieve in their life. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So a little bit about me. Back when you and I met, Dennis, I was in the the bicycle freestyle arena and learning how to do tricks on bikes. And you were the expert who our team hired to come out and help us get from where we were to where we wanted to be. And you were at that, not even expert, you were at pro level. And we were novice looking to get intermediate. So it was cool. And the wisdom you shared, even at the young age, was, of course, you want to do the tricks that I'm doing, the pro level tricks. But you first have to learn the novice tricks, then the intermediate, then the expert, and then the pro tricks. So that was one of the areas that I got into, and in a very short amount of time, went from being that total beginner to a national bicycle champion. And then wrestling. I wrestled as a child and ended up being at a very high level of competitor status in wrestling. Lost way less than I won. And then went into the Marine Corps on a whole different story we could get into if need be. But once in the Marine Corps, realized, holy cow, I can't get out, so I might as well make the best of this experience, and became the #1 honor man out of USMC boot camp at Parris Island, received 3 meritorious promotions in 4 years of active duty, and became, from not knowing anything to the best in that. Once I got done with my 4 years of active duty in the Marine Corps, went on to become #1 in 5 separate sales organizations. And then my eyes were opened in early 2000s to the internet marketing world, and went on to produce tens of millions of dollars of results in the internet marketing arena, and have helped many people become not only just millionaires, but more importantly, happy, fulfilled, joyous people that are making the most of their life. So that's the quick nutshell of who Tom is.
Tom, it's funny that we're talking about this here right now, because I literally just walked in from a conversation outside into here, and it delayed our recording time, not going into details too much. But the talk I was having with a friend is he is such an amazing human being, and he's got so much talent, but he lives his life from a underdog perspective. Anything we talk about, whether it's politics or anything, he just automatically reverses to the opposite side, no matter what. You can almost like play a game with him and convince him, and he'll switch to the side just to be that underdog position. Mm-hmm. And he has so much talent. He has so much to offer, but he harnesses this amazing talent in places like politics, in places like relationships, where, as we were talking about, I said, you know what? They just dissipate. There's nothing left. You can talk about politics forever and you'll get nowhere. You can try to save a relationship that just, is broken, but it just dissipates into nothing. I said, you know what? He wants to write a book. And I said, but if you take that energy and switch it over here to this book that you've wanted to write for 10 years, you will obtain that book. So you are a person, obviously, has channeled your energy in the right places. You've not focused your abilities on the wrong things, but yet the right things, and achieved many things. How can we help those people that are just stuck on taking this amazing energy they have, this gift of determination, and channeling it over to value or achievement that you can take? Nobody can take away the fact that you've made giants in the industry of internet, made amazing accomplishments out in the field, in the military, major accomplishments on your bike. Nobody can ever take away the fact that you did a decade on a bike. Nobody can, Well,
first, let me just share the brief analysis I gave, and my life story has those small, monumental successes, the peaks of the mountain. But what you don't see is the journey up the mountain and the falls that occurred down the cliffs. And there's many more. Like, we could talk for hours about the falls and the mishaps and the mistakes and the scrapes and the cuts and the broken bones and all that happens. But guess what? I got back up and kept on going. So
Right.
first of all, those are some of the accomplishments of many, but my list of quote unquote failures and or lessons on the journey are millions more. And I continually make errors on a daily basis. And it's my opinion that if I'm not making errors and I'm getting too comfortable, I should be uncomfortable in my comfortableness, because it's outside of the comfort zone where the stumbles will occur, where the falls will occur, where the lessons are learned. So I'm human, just like everybody who's achieved great success is human. And I only have control of three things: my thoughts, my words, and my actions. And Dennis, circling back to your question, it's all opportunity cost. If I give my thoughts, my words, and my actions the attention of politics or the attention of, whatever the chaos in the world is, that's taking my attention, which opportunity cost is what I'm giving my attention to means the millions of other things I can't choose to give my attention to.
Right.
So generally I ask this question: what is my desired outcome for the day, for this call? And Dennis, we right in the beginning, just so you know, watching this, hey, what are we going to talk about? I don't know. I said, my desired outcome is that, Dennis, you and your listeners are going to learn some information that can take them from where they are currently in their life to where they want
to go.
And we'll go wherever that brings us. So this is all impromptu. This is all from being prepared. Just like if Dennis or I were to get on a properly prepared bike, we would blow many people's minds with what we can do now. But that's from 10 years of hundreds, if and thousands of hours of practicing. Similarly, Dennis and I are also committed to helping you take your life from where you are to where you want to be. I've been to Fiji with Tony Robbins for a week. I've been in thousands of hours of seminars with the best thought leaders alive. I've read thousands of books. I've spoken on stage in front of tens of thousands of people. So all of this has culminated to us crossing paths here. So with opportunity cost, I first say, okay, with all this noise, all the chaos in the world, what's my desired outcome for right here, right now, in this moment? And if that's true, if I get clear on what my desired outcome is, okay, I want to share some information that will help you take your life from where you are, regardless of where you are on that mountain of success, at the bottom or at the top, to the next level. And if that's my focus, I have to control the only three things that I can't control: my thoughts, my words, and my actions, remaining congruent with that desired outcome. Because the rubber is where the road meets the rubber is, are my thoughts, words, and actions congruent with that desired outcome or incongruent? So let's go to something that people can understand: losing weight, getting in shape, right? If that's your desired outcome, I want to be in optimal physical shape. Okay, how are your actions lining up with that? How are your thoughts? How are your words and your life? Is it in alignment with that, or is it out of alignment? So that goes with relationships. Relationships, the key to relationships is time. Time equals love in relationships. If you're not giving time, that relationship's going to be dissipated. And in the financial arena, are your thoughts, words, and actions congruent with the financial goals and outcomes that you've set for yourself? Because there's activities that are bringing you closer towards that goal, and there's many activities that, if you looked and were truthful with yourself, are probably pulling you further from that goal. And then you have to answer these 4 questions. What do I need to start doing? What do I need to do more of? What do I need to do less of? And what do I need to stop doing altogether? If you've set that desired outcome, you can answer each of those 4 questions, and then that's going to put you on track and being congruent with that desired outcome. And one step at a time, you can and you will get there. So
Absolutely.
that's the quick answer to your question.
You were talking earlier about more mistakes. You make a lot of mistakes, and I'm going to point out something right here. If you look at the bottom of this, let me see if I can do this right. This club here, okay? On the edge is all my great shots. Mm-hmm. Down bottom here are all my very bad shots. In fact, I probably hit off a rock here, or maybe even slam the club on the ground from frustration. And all these runs right here are just more bad shots. Tom, do you see more good shots there or bad shots in this club?
Probably a lot more bad.
Bad, right.
A lot
some
more,
rights
right.
going there, some lefts. Right. These are all the good shots right here. Mm-hmm. And in golf, I wanted to be one of the best golfers in the world. I wanted to be one of the top. I wanted to shoot in the 60s. And, we talk about achievements, and I was very determined. But like you said, the path is not all success. It's all failures. But in golf, the good thing about it is you can hit 3 bad shots and end up at 1 good one, and the result is the same. Mm-hmm. So I want everybody to kind of keep that in mind as Tom's talking, and I'm sharing here as well, is the path to your success often has failures, like Tom was talking about here, like this golf club is showing. This is documented proof. Okay, I shot 68 with these clubs before, but you can see I failed more than I succeeded, but I got to my goal.
Yep. And Dennis, you were a pro in bicycle freestyle, and for those who don't know that, that's the X Games type of stuff. Dennis would go in the air and spin 1.5 times, do a 540, like that, like clockwork. And Dennis, did you ever fall in practicing that 540?
I can remember one time where I fell up at your house, actually. That was brutal. Yeah, right. I remember I caught the tip of your ramp and my front tire. Oh, that was a brutal fall. Yes, I've fallen many times, and unfortunately I have scars that will remind me of that for the rest of my life.
Right. After failing and failing and failing, and you finally nailed it, and you did it again successfully. It wasn't a matter in your mind. It went from impossible to possible to probable to a done deal. Like, of course, like it's a given to a given, right? And that's kind of the whole journey of success. When you can go from impossible to possible and ask the question, what if? What if that thing that I thought was impossible became possible? Like, wow, what if? Okay, great. And then how would I make that possible? Like, what if? You have to make that big jump from impossible to possible. And once you can grasp that, that fulfills the quote from Henry Ford. You can, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. So if it's impossible and you think it's impossible, you're right. Might as well not even try it because it's impossible to you. But when you can ask yourself, what if it is possible? And when you can grasp it and you can finally go from impossible to possible, now you're on the other side of that quote. Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. If you think you can't, you're right. You can't. Like, you'll prove yourself to be right. If you think you can, you will still get back on that bike, fall after fall after fall, because you envision yourself doing it. You haven't quite, but each time you fall, you're learning one more way how not to do it. And that's similar to the light bulbs that we've heard took 10,000 times and tries to discover the right component. He's like, I didn't figure 9,909 ways to fail. I figured out 9,999 ways to not make a light bulb, which led me to the 10,000th one, which gave me the light bulb that we have. Yeah. So going from impossible to possible is a huge thing that fulfills that Henry Ford quote. And then from the possible to probable is practice, repetition of the basics. And that's kind of like the wisdom that I shared briefly of what you shared with us. Like, you have to master the basics before you can go to the higher level tricks, higher level results. And a lot of people are like, well, I want to skip the basics. I want to go just to the high level. Well, of course you do. Everybody does. Right. But it's everyone who's at the top, similar to golf, similar to bike riding, similar to wrestling, similar to the Marine Corps, similar to producing millions of dollars online and millions of dollars in business. It's repetition of the basics. Basics. And that's it. That's we could end right now and your life will be better. But we're not. We got more.
No, it's very true. I mean, I would always, in freestyle, resort to the basics. Stop, work on the basics, and remind myself that that's where the core, okay? Because when you, let's say you want to be a professional golfer or a bike rider, in competition, the element and the surroundings are completely different than your daily practice. Okay. And you have to simulate that, and you have to ingrain in you so much comfort in what you're doing. Because when you then when the bell rings and the football play starts, or the time to hit that golf ball or make a putt from 3 feet, then you can do 100% of the times, the game is changed. The pressure, the elevation of your nervous system goes up 10 times. So you have to be able to I'm missing the word here, reduplicate what you just did, which you can do 100 times. Oftentimes, that goes down from 100% to 30 to 40 to 50%, right. Sometimes 60%. And that's why Tiger Woods was such a great golfer, because he always worked on fundamental basics to get himself through those high-level, high-pressure elements. Because in a lot of ways, maybe he wasn't any better than everybody else. He was just better at handling the pressure because he had the basics in place. And that's what made me totally a successful bike rider, is because I would rewind back to basics. When I play golf and I'm in a high pressure thing where I'm about to post a great round or beat somebody, I remember driving range. I just sit there, I see myself on the driving range hitting that golf ball the way I did perfectly every time. And that helps me to hit that shot under pressure.
Practice, right? And if you look at Jordan, if you look at Tiger Woods, if you look at all the top athletes, what you don't see are the thousands of hours behind the scenes that they put in that the mediocre / really good experts and pros didn't put in. While the other people are out partying, the other people are out doing their thing, Jordan's on the court. Tiger Woods is out, with blondes. Practice. Well, he got so good, he could lose his focus. Right. So it's doing the things that the others don't, that separates you. And if you go to any pro level athlete, you're going to see there's some that just shine way above the rest. The Jordans come to mind, and Larry Bird, back in the day would be practicing 3-pointers when everyone else is not even on the court. It's not when everyone else is doing it. It's what are you doing when everyone else is gone? That no one sees, and that's what a true champion is, and that's the opportunity cost of reading the books. That's the opportunity cost of watching things like this. You're doing exactly what I was doing 11 plus years ago, listening to people share their stories of how they did it, and me learning and taking notes. And okay, and if I can just get one thing that I can implement from this, it's worth it.
Right.
So that's our goal here, to share at least one thing that clicks for you that you can say, aha, and then go implement that, and now that is the game changer for everything.
Which leads us to the next thing. Both you and I have been working very hard on releasing some new courses this year. I know I'm very close to launching mine, and you're working on a goal of July, you said. But it's also about taking in education, okay? If you want to be something better, investing in learning the way from the professionals or the best people in the process certainly will reduce your time spent on it. If you want to be stubborn and think you can figure it all on yourself, that's great. But if you want to spend $1,000 on a course and learn from somebody that's already been there, example this weekend, I found this guy who had a course on how you can do a vertical leap higher in basketball, and he has reduced people's learning span from a lifetime to a week or 2 weeks, and how they can gain 9 or 10 inches of leap in their basketball team, which helps you tremendously in basketball. So obtaining knowledge is very important. And I think you and I have both been junkies of this our whole life. We've attained all the get well tapes, the motivational tapes that we could possibly get our hands on, but look what the results have come. My friends,
and that's how our paths met. We hired you to come out to teach us what you knew, and guess what? We could have figured it all out, but it would have taken us years. Right. Where you came out for a week or two, and you took us from where we were to where it would have been years down the road had you not guided us and shown us, hey, I see exactly what you're doing wrong. Try this. Right. And just by doing that, saved months of pain, effort, agony, and shortcut our journey. And that's back in the bicycle freestyle game. And this, of course, happens in business, and especially in today's world of how quickly things are changing. And the honest response is there's no way any human could keep up with all of it. So first of all, you have to get clear on what is the best use of your time. What is your sweet spot? What is your highest revenue producing activity? And that probably 1 to 3 activities, and that's it. And then the rest, you want to have a team that you're either outsourcing or delegating and or in person that's doing the rest, because the old days of
doing everything
if it's
yourself.
Up to me, if it's going to be, it's up to me is over. Like that, there's only 24 hours a day, and it would take 48 hours each day to get half of it done. Right? Yeah. So that's why you need duplication and replication in systems so that you can get so much done, but it all doesn't rely on you. It takes more of the team effort, TEAM. Together, everyone achieves more.
Yep.
And trust, this is one of my biggest obstacles going back 10 plus years. I was of the belief from many of the trainings I listened to of self-made millionaire. And I was like, yes, I'm going to do it all myself. And I misinterpreted it. Now I've since been friends and have met Brian Tracy and went to Africa with his team and built a school and such. But I shared with them, I said, look, I misinterpreted self-made millionaire. And it took me years off my life and my learning curve because I tried doing it all myself. When I finally found out, wait, Brian has a team of 40 people on his team. Like, that's not self-made. Like, but that was my interpretation of self-made. Self-made millionaire, from his perspective, was you come up with the idea, and you didn't inherit anything. You created your own business, you created your own product, you created your own service, but it's not all you, it's your team made it happen, right? So my misinterpretation of what I thought self-made millionaire was absolutely, I want to be one, I'm going to do it all myself, took years off my life until I finally had the epiphany and reframed it as, I don't want to do it all myself. That's ridiculous. I want to do it in a team collaborative effort, because together everyone achieves more. And that's the reality. In today's world, it's up to being a part of a great team and building your own team of people with the same goals that you have.
That's such a good point, listeners. If you really heard that, I mean, I have struggled with that myself, Tom, so many times. You have to find people around you that can help, because there's so many technologies. There's so many things to learn. Even social media alone, there's several platforms you have to be on to really understand what to do, to do it, to perfect it is a whole other ballgame. And then you got marketing, and then you have speaking, then you have producing, and then billing and accounting, and oh my God, it's overwhelming. It really is overwhelming. A life that was supposed to get simpler certainly got way more complicated, because we said, okay, the computer's going to help you get to where you want to go quickly. Well, now it's getting you there quickly, but now each area's niched because of it.
Correct.
I think everything's gotten perfected because of it. So accounting has gotten perfected. Marketing has gotten perfected. Marketing's gotten perfected onto several levels, socially, and brand and print. And it just goes on and on. So a good thing turned into a complication that we underestimated. Right. So now,
circling back from team is, what is your unique ability? What is the best use of your time? What is the highest revenue producing activity that you can do? And it's up to you to define what that is. And once you get clear on that, you can bring in the rest, like through outsourcing and through team building, et cetera. But some people hit me back with, well, Tom, I don't know what separates me from the rest, like the rest of my competitors, et cetera. And here are the three things that separate you from everyone else in your field. And those three things are your personality, your experiences, and your perspective. So PEP, I call it your PEP. Your personality, your experiences, and your perspective separate you from everyone else in your niche. So get good at being the best you're capable of being able to share your personality in an engaging manner that gives the education necessary in an entertaining fashion, because people's attention spans have decreased dramatically in this age. If you're boring, you're going to be lost in the noise. So you have to fine tune your personality. If you are the front, you don't have to be the front of your business, but if you are, you have to be entertaining, engaging, and informative if you're doing this type of stuff. So use your personality, experiences, and perspective. And that's why, if you look at the health industry or the weight loss industry, there can be thousands of different weight loss experts, because it's the same stuff, but they share it with their personality, their experiences, and their perspective. And people resonate with them that may not resonate with other people. They may not feel comfortable with the other people, but they feel comfortable with that person. So be the best you're capable of being. Share your personality, share your experiences, share your perspective that's unique to the world. And when done properly, and here's I'll share 9 words that can help you share it. It produces a following, and from that following, great results can occur. So in producing the tens of millions of dollars of results that I've been fortunate to produce, we followed a 9-word formula. And the formula was: tell your story, share your results, sell your system. Tell your story, share your results, sell your system. So in telling your story, that's where you get into your personality, your experiences, and your perspective. And when you tell your story, you share your results. Look, here's where I was. Now you add in your personality, experiences, and perspective. Now here's where I am. Then you sell your system. And here's how I did it. If you want, and with the selling the system, there's also a formula for that. Tell them what you've got. Tell them what it will do for them, and tell them what to do next. So tell them what you've got, tell them what it will do for them, and tell them what to do next. That's the sell your system portion of it.
Unfortunately, I'm learning that just now in this portion of my life. I've been told these words of wisdom since well back into 2004 when Dan Kennedy came out. We had I'll take that back to 1990s. We bought a whole full system from Dan Kennedy and how he talks about all this stuff. And we've all kind of learned a lot from him over the years. But I am now in 2016 finally getting it, that all what you're saying right there is there's a very specific streamlined process to selling or creating results. And if you're out there and you're listening and you've always been like, well, I don't want to be that cheesy salesman or cheesy this, it's not cheesy. It's what people want to hear. They want to understand.
Here's the bottom line. Let me clarify that real quickly. So if you are someone who is knowing that you have something that for these people is extremely helpful. So let's just give an example that everyone can get. If you have the cure for cancer, wouldn't you feel compelled to go do everything in your realm of possibility to go share this with the world? I have the cure for this, which is putting so much harm and difficult and pain on a lot of people. And if I keep it a secret, I'm hurting those people. Where if I go and do everything that it was in my power to do to share that message in the most tactful, meaningful, strategic manner that goes through the emotional buying process, because guess what? People buy emotionally and back it up logically. So there's things that from like a book by Dr. Cialdini, Cialdini, called Influence, there's mental reasoning that you can utilize that helps people through decisions. And if you do that properly, you can help them make your product or service be the next obvious choice for them. And if you do it improperly, they'll hear it and they'll move on to something next because they're bored and it didn't follow that flow. So even if you have the cure for cancer, you have to do it in a strategic manner because guess what? There's going to be objections. I've heard a lot of people claim they have it. You have to be someone who utilizes all the tools, psychological and otherwise, that can share it in a compelling manner to follow the advertising formula for ages, AIDA. Grabs their attention, gets their interest, has them desirous of what you want, what you're sharing, and then A is action. So attention, interest, desire, action. And if you don't follow that formula that's been proven throughout history and tap into all the psychological advances that have been there, you're not doing the best that you can do to share your message to help the people who need your help. So when you truly believe in your product or service, it's now, like you said, Dennis, not being a cheesy salesperson. It's you doing the duty that is compelled to you to do to give the value that the people in your community who can benefit from what you have to offer from your product or service are waiting for, have pain, have difficulty, have this help that they've been searching for, and you have it. And it's up to you to go deliver it. And if you don't do it properly, you're neglecting your audience, which in turn neglects your reaping the rewards. So it's a law of sowing and reaping. The more you give of value and the more you follow the flow that I just described, the more people are going to be thankful to pull out their credit cards and pay you for what they've been looking for and have been fooled and conned and all these other things. And now they finally found what they've been looking for. The U2 song, finally found it. So it's up to you to not think of yourself as the salesperson. Think of you as that value provider. And then there's a quote from Zig Ziglar that says, you can have everything in life you want if you help enough others get what they want. So you have that belief in yourself, in your product, in your service. It's up to you to go deliver it in a manner that can get in front of your target audience, share it in a manner that gets their attention, gets their interest, them desiring it and taking the proper action, and you reaping the rewards. That's it.
Awesome. Well, in closing, Tom, I wanted to ask one last question. It's more personal, and hopefully we can get a really good answer out of you on this, because sometimes it's hard for people to kind of think this far back. But there's something that drove you your whole life. There's something that's made you want to do from a young kid to become a great bike rider, to become an amazing soldier for our country, to become an amazing marketer. There's some energetic shift or something that's started at one point in your life that's changed you and made things happen that are remarkable in your life since you were a young kid. Can you remember that day, or can you remember that time, or what somebody told you, or somebody that you said, you know what, I am going to be more?
Yep. So it's a multifold answer, and it may be eye-opening. And this used to be something that I probably would have been too embarrassed to share because it was very personal. And until I've studied that the more personal you can become and the more you can truly share your experiences from the heart, the more you'll tap into other people who had similar experiences. When I was growing up, I thought I was the only kid who had the crazy life that I had. Like everyone else at school seemed to have, the perfect family. I grew up around 4 divorces and 6 marriages, implanted into numerous step families, moving all the time, going to 9 different schools by 8th grade, always the new guy. And there came a point, and you met my mother.
Yes.
My mother has since passed, by the way. I was born to teenagers, so my mother was 17 when I was born. My dad was 19 when I was born, which immediately, if you think back, that's a very young age to have children. So my parents were kids still. So there was a lot of chaos that went along with that. They got married and divorced to each other twice. Married, divorced, all by the time I was a very young toddler. And there came a point that I said, Mom, I don't want to live with you anymore. I want to live with my dad. She said, call him up. He doesn't want you. I was like, whoa. So I called him. Dad, I want to come live with you. He said, I can't. I can't. So I used to not be able to tell that story because I would be so emotional about it. But I've since, through many years of studying and all this, recognized they were doing the best they could at that time. Right? They were kids when they had me. They were still kids when I was even 8 years old. They were still young and whatnot. So they were doing the best they knew how. And I took away any judgment. I took away any anger or hatred for that particular scenario and the whole chaos that I grew up around with. And to answer your question, even with bike riding, Dennis, I remember, you probably didn't see this, but in all the shows, and you went to many of the shows we did, I would always look and see if my dad was there. He never once. He did once. He once came to one of my shows in the many years, and similarly at football games, I would look around. Are they there? And it's all verification and validation. Am I worthy? Am I lovable? So my commitment probably isn't what you were expecting, but my commitment was more of a look, Ma, look, Dad, look at me. Look how proud. Am I worthy? Am I lovable? And so that is what originally drove me. And I guess growing up and being who I am now and all the studying that I've done, there's 2 types of goals. There's ones that are towards goals and there's the ones that are away from goals. So fear can be a big motivator, but it also can be a big detriment. Anger can be a big motivator. It also can be a big detriment. It all depends on the scenario and all depends on the framing. So that was a motivator for me to do my best at all those things at a young age that I've since used proactively to now reframe it and have a more of a setting my desire and setting my goal and my outcome and having it be a toward motivator of like things that drive me and how's my life going to be different when I achieve that, the why versus as a child, the validation of look, Ma, look, Dad, look, are you proud of me now type of scenario.
Awesome. And it resonates with me as well. I can see similar story for myself and listeners. I'm sure you can resonate with this as well. It's why do we want to achieve? And sometimes there's underlying messages that you didn't really realize that if you sit down and actually think about where that drive came from, you realize it's something as simple as this: wanting to be noticed, wanting to be found. Hey, you're Mom and Dad, you're rustling around doing something, but hey, look at me over here,
Right.
And
right.
It's
and let's circle back to the why now, because this is a question that someone asked me a while back ago. Like, Tom, why do you do what you do? Like, and I share. Well, it brings me satisfaction to help, speak on stage and have the whole line of people with tears and tell me, this changed my life. This is what I would look for. I'm now ready to go, take my life to a whole nother level. Okay, awesome. And I would challenge them. I said, great. That means the world to me hearing it now, but I want to have you a year from now at the next event share with me, here's where I was then and here's where I am now. So go prove to me, go make me proud in essence, right? But why do I do it now? And yes, it gives me satisfaction, but okay, why? Why do I still do this? And the answer was, I wish when I was young, I had someone that would have been like a guide for me. Right. And someone who could have like, what, if you would do this, imagine, and kind of paint that picture. And so that's my way of kind of helping people fill the void that was kind of there in areas of my childhood. So
absolutely.
But it feels good. So it's a rewarding process. And now I kind of feel like my stepbrother, who you also met, by the way, back when you used to come to our house, he went on and played in the NFL for 10 years for the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Houston Texans. So he was getting paid highly to do something he loved. And back when we'd rode bikes, we got paid nicely for doing what we loved. And today I get rewarded nicely for doing what I love, which is assisting people in getting from where they are to where they want to be, and tapping into my personality, my experiences, and my perspective. Have a great track record of making that happen. So it's kind of a nice thing.
That's great. And I want to point out, everybody, that that story was amazing, Tom, and I'm just going to be thinking all day about it. But if you're wondering why so many people have so much determination and so much drive, it's because of that similar story with that. Who would be able to stop Tom in his tracks after having those feelings his whole life? Who would be able to stop him?
I think you and I may have chatted about this, about the recent politics. In my opinion, Donald Trump is the epitome of the story I just shared. See, Donald was born into a wealthy family. And Donald kind of had the shadow of his father. Like, oh, well, Donald, of course you're successful. Your dad gave you that jump start with that loan, the small loan, the $1 million. And Donald has always been that, look at me. Dad, are you proud now? Dad, are you proud now? So it's a similar type of thing.
Yes.
Flipped roles, because I was very non-wealthy. I was very poor as a child. He was very wealthy as a child, and it was always him trying to get out from his dad's shadow to say, look at me. Look, I could have done it on my own without my dad's help.
Right.
So psychologically, what I just shared with my story, it's 180 degrees different of Donald Trump, but it's still the basis of, look at me. Am I lovable now? Am I worthy now? See, I could have done it without my dad's help. That's my Tom Beal psychological peer into Trump's mind.
Yeah, and people to this day are still, reflecting him back on that, and that they're still trying to undermine his look at me now. And you're right. If you look at it from that way, you don't think he's arrogant. You don't think he's just stuck in this thought pattern of, look at me now. I want the attention.
I could have done it without my dad, right?
Yeah, and we all look at him and like, oh my God, you're this, you're that. But you know what? Hey, you know what? He's a human being just like us.
Correct.
Wanting that attention. And
correct.
It's simple as that. Tom, thank you so much for your time. This has been amazing. I'm sure there's more value bombs in this than I ever anticipated, and I'm sure the listeners are going to enjoy this too. I'm looking forward to great things for you the rest of 2016. I know you've been working very hard on some projects, and I wish the best for you on that. So exciting.
Very cool. Thanks for having me here. My hope is that this fulfilled what we talked about earlier. I want to share some information that can help people get from where they are to where they want to be. And
I think we did. Audience, Thank you for listening here today. We appreciate every one of you. We love what we do, and we love to share with you guys. And I hope this is something that sparks your interest into doing and looking into more of your life and making it a better place. Sounds good. Bye, everybody. One critical thing highly successful people do is organize their goals and write them down. Success doesn't just happen to you, it's created by you. If you are ready to create a roadmap to greater success, you may want to listen to what I'm about to say. We have developed an online success platform that offers 6 critical tools for creating and implementing your success plan. If you're ready to turbocharge your personal development and success in every area of your life, it's time for you to join Team Cody Dog by visiting CodyDog.com. That's CODIEDOG.com.